Hello, boys and girls. Jackie Wolf, your favorite lovable neko of the internet, all here again today to tell you the gospel of, well, wokeism, self destruction, and fanatics. Because the whole blame Pardo thing, or Pardo, never actually figured out how you say his name, isn't actually finished. But I digress. There wouldn't be a Jackie thing if I didn't do multiple videos on it, I guess. That being said, I also looked into this thing that was claimed on the Archcast, which I do recommend the Archcast because Arch and Kibbs are acquaintances of mine. But let's go into it. So we're gonna start with
I do. I think that
oh yeah, no, that was from a long time ago. Why is that still on the news cards? Jeff, Jeff, you didn't do your job, man. You're making me upset. I have to remember what order this stuff is. Of course, as we're talking about this whole thing is still blowing up on Twitter. This thing is still going strong and crazy. And I'm not a big fan of this. I don't really get anything about this. But I wanted to point out this one guy, Pro Freedom John. This is a thing. It's all about a religion. And I don't get the people who wanted Blaine Pardo fired. I don't think of themselves as fundamentalists, but they are. You can't stray away from their way of thinking without being ousted from society. They consider themselves morally. I mean, you see this, there is a huge outrage on Twitter. And the reason I bring this up is I tried to find, uh, I tried to find George LeDuc's statement on it or something because a lot of people said that, well, he was shitting on this particular thing, saying he was a bad guy, but I couldn't actually find that statement. Now, that doesn't mean it wasn't there and it got deleted, but what I think it is George LeDuc's did say something about love being love in his statement. You know, just general, I'm okay with training people as long as they're not like violent or something. I don't remember the exact quote, and I don't have it saved because, well, again, it wouldn't be a Jackie thing if it was actually well thought up and prepared, right? But I want to go. I want to point out that the scary part about all this, the absolute scary part about all this, is that every time I look at Twitter, I only see an outcry of support for George, or not for George, for Blaine Pardo. And I hope Mr. Pardo has the utmost and understanding that he has a very wide following. I have also emailed Fanatics, the parent company of Tops, who is the parent company of Catalyst Game Labs, in hopes that they will provide a statement. However, as of right now, that has not happened, nor do I think it's going to happen, because companies like that tend to be kind of cancer. Moving on, though. Hey, I said moving on. This is from a very long time ago. This is a Reddit thread. And I have done a lot of digging into this, and I can tell you that there is two people, two prominent people. One who used to be a line writer or something like that for Catalyst, and the other one is somebody that is mentally deranged and has something against Blaine Pardo, who one of their sock puppets claims to be a nurse with two children, despite the fact that Faith has restraining orders which keeps said person from having children, and that the whole claim of uh, being a transphobe is because of the restraining orders. But I just found out the lead author of the BattleTech series is extremely right wing. Just when my interest in Battletech returned, I learned that the author of The Hour of the Wolf is very far right. He is now publishing a book about the far left extremists taking over the US after an insurrection and outlawing patriotism. Well, yeah, yeah. That's what a Blue Dawn situation would be. I used to agree to disagree, but when it comes to politics, but such a book just a month after right-wing insurrection with millions apparently still waiting to install a former president as a dictator. That is my point where my tolerance of BS has touched the breaking point. Anyone supporting this terroristic sympathizer, I want nothing to do with their work. Okay, first off, the insurrectionists wasn't into that. Well, most of the insurrectionists weren't actually peaceful protesters that were waved into the Capitol building. And don't start going, but Jackie's right wing, because I'm not really that far right, if at all. I'm actually I am actually a civicist, which would have used to been a left wing position, believe it or not. It is just that we believe that control in the city and county trumps control at the national level. So, okay. This user got in trouble. This is live wire failure. I don't know too much about this, but this was a year ago, and this account was around for 7 years. Uh, two posts must be related to BattleTech. One, no, wrong, fair. One, threatening, harassing, or inciting violence. This is related to BattleTech, as the OP is complaining about the political views of a BattleTech author, which is fair. This now has the appropriate flair. This is not threatening, harassing, or inciting violence. Using the upvote or downvote and your speech as you choose, I'm allowing op speak here, which this guy clearly stated what he thought, which isn't bad. Although I would say that I am pretty sure this part right here is kind of disingenuous. Actually, it's extremely disingenuous. Uh, because anybody, even a day after that, could have figured out that that was wrong. But I'm not going into that because the person may just watch bad news all the time. As long as it doesn't bleed into his Battletech work, I don't care. And that is actually what a lot of left-wing Battletech people were. I try to separate art from the artist. That's how I still listen to people like Carlos Santana. Believe it or not, I would disagree with a lot of musicians' politics. My thoughts exactly. And then this is where we get to the interesting part of this. This is where people start getting attacked. You're a fascist enabler by doing so. As long as it doesn't bleed into his artwork, I don't care. The guy buying Hitler's paintings. Well, that's not good. Gotta click the continue thread thing. Because. Well, this guy right here, Insomnia. Well, this is interesting. You've never posted in our subreddit before, and the first post you make is an insult on another user in a month-old post. Normally, I would just give you a warning, but because we don't take kindly to that kind of behavior, I will also letting people speak their mind. However, you have an aggregated factor, namely that your Reddit history is replete with you just insulting people and providing nothing worthwhile to the conversation. You are getting a temporary ban for this post. If you decide that you want to actually talk about Battletech instead of insult people, you're welcome to rejoin us in 2 weeks. Do shut up. Good. The thing about that is that's what got me. is this person, and this is a locked post. This whole article is actually locked. And just outright attacks and goes, "You're a fascist enabler." That right there is generally not a good sign. That is generally a sign of the type of people that faith, as they prefer to be called, apparently, is trying to rally support. Now, this is over a year old and has only gotten worse because remember, Faith had been stalking them or stalking somebody for almost 2 years. And here is a mega thread from Insomnia. I'm going to be brief. I mark all the back and forth discussion as drama, not about Battletech, which is true because it is about drama, but it is drama that affects Battletech. So, for the news, Pardue and CDL have both announced Pardue is no longer writing for Battletech. CGL actually lied, but that's a story for a different day. As he had been a Battletech author for decades, 37 years. This is quite upsetting to many. CGL has released a statement. That statement was, again, an outright lie because they retracted and had to re-say it. Pardue has released two statements. Here's one that came out before, and here's the second one. This is a factual and unbiased presentation if possible. If somebody wants to provide private messages to me, other publicly available parties, I will add them. For the community, I don't really care about all that, and I'm glad that they're locking it down because it is getting out of hand. However, I do absolutely believe that you should vote with your dollars. I do believe that you should be calling out this kind of stuff. I can understand where a fandom thing doesn't need to be embroiled in this community madness that was created by two people that were out for vengeance because somebody didn't agree with them politically. And I've had this happen to me, so I'm not too shocked about this. Nor am I that scared about it. And I'm glad they are locking it down. But that will lead us into who actually called for the firing. Apparently, if you believe a lot of sources on this matter, it was this company, Fanatics. Well, who is Fanatics? Fanatics Inc. is a merchandise company for sports memorabilia, and they have had a ton of controversy around them. A very much a ton of controversy around them. And like I've said, I've sent them an email and asked them questions about things, and I haven't got a response yet. Maybe in the near future I will. I'm not holding my breath, nor am I judging them. I am just pointing out that they have had a lot of controversy around them, from racism to outright forgeries of memorabilia. Like, I looked at Fanatics and I could not, by no means, separate Fanatics from anybody else. Major League Baseball is facing a federal antitrust legislation in Manhattan over claims that the organization and its teams have conspired with Fanatics Inc. to quarter the market for MLB products purchased through the online platform like Amazon Inc.'s marketplace for third-party sellers. Yes, that outright just called Fanatics a monopoly in the sports memorabilia. And this was June 10th of 2020. That's not even that long ago. That was last month. Yeah. Yeah. And as long as these lawsuits go on, Fanatics is actually still fighting the class action lawsuit over forged autographs. They're still doing a lot of things, but it's an antitrust lawsuit, which means Fanatics, the mother company of Topps, could be split up and divided. It's kind of interesting. But what does that have to do with anything? Well, I mostly just pulled that out because that is the most recent literature that most people are going to be exposed to when they start looking up Fanatics. If I quit burping, I would do good. But that's not the important part. This story that popped up in my news feed, I would like to thank my longtime friend for this. He knows who he is. I will just simply call him the ghost in chat. The man who lurks. The man who. Damn it, I hate when that does that. I don't want stuff to always be transparent. Oh. Well, apparently they've changed this to subscriber only since I looked at it last. But basically, Fanatics is under legal problems. You can't see the corner of my freaking screen because of light controls. Uh, Fanatics are in a lot of trouble due to the fact that, well, during COVID, they fired a bunch of their POC staff. You know, the people of color. I had to think for a minute because I don't know what the proper term for um, minority individuals. That's it. We'll go with minority individuals. And I'll switch back to the news desk because it's a little bit more fun. Um, but yeah, they let go their minority individuals rather than keeping them. Fanatics is not a company that, from what I've dug up, seems to be that great. So why would they be so terrified when it comes to the backlash of a few woke people? And like I've said, I have been on Twitter in several places today, and I have seen very little that actually supports this from the fan base. If anything, I've seen a lot that kinda hates it and thinks it's stupid. But, you know, what do I know? I'm just a dumb necko. But going through all of this, I have found zero evidence of Blaine Pardue being a transphobe. He wrote a book called Pludon a year ago. Him, Stackpole, various other writers for Battletech were then called far right extremists because they didn't just immediately hop on the woke bandwagon. And ultimately, this is an attack on hobbies and stuff that allow us escapism from the social pressures of real life. Because the people that are screaming like crazy narcissists only want the power to destroy. As I've said repeatedly in the past, those wokest individuals, they're not the people that buy the video games and stuff they destroy, because they don't. They don't care about the media they're removing or destroying. Rather, they do it because it's funny to them. They do it because it gives them a sense of power, and they do it because, well, it forces people like me and you to have to pay more attention to what they're saying on the news. Instead of having our insular little communities in which we talk about daily to day stuff on a daily basis. So, I digress. What's happening in the Battletech sphere? And this video is a little bit more cleaned up than the other one. I honestly am sickened and appalled by. And I hope I wake up tomorrow and all of this is just a joke. Because a lot of the wokest sites that I do see are claiming that this is just so that he can get more support and more people buying his book. But his book was already a bestseller before any of this happened. If anything, this just sounds like drivel. Anyways, I've been Jackie Wolf. I live stream. I do pre-recorded videos and stuff like that. The best way to keep up with what I do is subscribe, like, comment, stay involved with the community. I will be having a Discord hopefully launching soon. I have a Patreon. There's various ways to donate to me. Um, Other than that, I'm building up some of my friends so that we can start a small little media company because I think that would be pretty cool. Anyways, I love you guys. And until the next time, bye.